Okay, so first of all, don't judge the book by its cover, right? And I don't mean it in some kind of wishy-washy way. I actually mean it is like listen to first what I have to say and then decide for yourself. Like don't just, judge like this video just by seeing the, maybe thumbnail or the title of this video, right? Now I have covered this topic a little bit in my previous videos, but it was like really like a little bits, like a little part in that whole video. But I thought that it is such a important topic, but no one talks about. I haven't seen anyone in this whole YouTube fitness space talk about it. But it is such an important topic. But no wonders people are still having problems in achieving their fitness goals. So here we go. The title of this video, I've already guessed it, what I'm going to talk about. It is like, don't blindly follow what mainstream like fitness influencers or like, competitive bodybuilders say, right? Like, don't blindly follow their instructions. Don't, blindly follow their, like advice, right? And I'm not saying like blindly follow my advice. I'm not even saying that. What I'm trying to say is that I'm just giving, some food for your thoughts so that you can think about, right? And you could actually, reflect on this advice that I'm going to give you in this video, which is like they are basically optimizing for what they are optimizing for, right? Like, which is their lifestyle. Most fitness influencers that you see, most like competitive bodybuilders, that you see, they're optimizing for one and only one thing, that is like looking good, right? And that's how they attract like most of their customers, most of their followers, most of their cult, right? And the problem with that is, and it's not really a problem because they are doing, whatever they want to do, right? They have freedom of choice. And is the problem you as an audience, what are you trying to basically input into your brain, right? And you might have seen me talked about in my other videos is that you like it at the end of the day, you got to take accountability for everything. It's your fault because nobody forced you to, like open YouTube and watch, Chris Bumstead and watch like David Lade and watch like any other fitness influencer that you come across in your Instagram or your YouTube, right? So be specific about the fitness influencers or the, bodybuilders or, like smaller channels, whatever. Be specific about them. Be specific about the type of content that you input to your brain. And the reason I say that is because they're optimizing for completely different than, what you're optimizing for. If you're, watching this video, chances are you are going to college, school, maybe, you're working, maybe you're an entrepreneur, right? Maybe you have a business and you want to get jacked as fast as possible and you want to become strong as fast as possible, right? This channel is exactly for you because every advice that I give is catered, is like conducive to basically that outcome, that goal, right? And you're going to see me speaking more and more about this in my channel. All I do is like, speak about how to get jacked and how to get strong as fast as possible. And also while, whilst looking good, like, looking not too shabby. So what they are optimizing for, and by them I mean like fitness influencers, like mainstream fitness influencers or like competitive bodybuilding, is like looks completely, right? And the problem with that is like their whole lifestyle is basically catered to that. They eat different foods, right? They have a ton of supplements. They have top tier dietitians, at their service and a moment's notice. And they're eating like some pasta or shit like that. They're eating like guacamole. They're eating all of these fancy foods that quite frankly maybe you can't afford, or like you don't get there in your locality, right? And you don't want to eat it, right? They're showing all of these fancy foods, all of this fancy cookbooks, right? That you gotta follow this recipe, you gotta make your food interesting, you gotta make your food tasty, all of that stuff. Don't sacrifice on taste, right? All of this bullshit knowledge, right? So when in reality taste doesn't even really matters. So you should see food for, as I've said again and again in this video, fuel, nothing else. Don't obsess over too much over food. Is basically fuel, nothing else. Just eat food and get to work and go to the gym, nothing else. And yeah, like that's exactly what I want to talk about in this video. Like one of the biggest components of you not achieving your fitness goals is like you are focusing too much about the health advice that they're giving. Remember, they are not in your shoes, you're not in their shoes. So the advice that they're giving most of the times, it doesn't really apply to you. Sure, watch them as entertainment. Sure, watch them as motivation, as a physique that you're trying to achieve. No problem with that, right? But then again, don't blindly follow their advice. think about it, right? Like do some critical, thinking, right? That if this advice actually applies to you or not. And I hope this video kind of opens your mind, because I'm trying to make fitness simple again, right? And there's been like so much bullshit, or like, like maybe fluff advice in this whole industry, that it confuses people too much. But then again, let's come down to one of the biggest topics when it comes to you being confused too much. It is that training intensity and like the number of sets that you should do. And I've made an entire video about the number of sets that is optimal for your workout every single week, every single day. Based upon the kind of workout that you're following. And you should really see that video, because in that video I've covered like the perfect rep range that is for you, right? And I'm even trying this thing for myself, which is like what I'm transitioning myself into is like basically having 2 warm-up sets and going all out on 2 working sets. That's it, because I've been lifting for almost 5 years, and I have like very good mind muscle connection, very good mind muscle connection, right? I can move every muscle of my body, and that's a good sign that you have a good mind muscle connection. What I'm thinking about doing is like basically going, doing 2 warm-up sets and going all out on 2 working sets. So like 4 sets in general on kind of like every exercise that I do. And the reason for that is I have good mind muscle connection. I really don't need like 3 or 4 sets for me to basically feel my muscle and have those micro tears in my muscles, right? I really have good mind muscle connection. If you're watching this video, if you're a beginner or like an intermediate level lifter, you need to do more than 2 sets. You may ask why. That, hey Eddie, like you're saying you're doing 2 sets, but you're advising me to do more than 2 sets. How's that fair? I'll tell you how's that fair. It's because you don't have the fraction of a mind muscle connection that I do, right? And the reason for that is you haven't been going to the gym for as long as I have been going to the gym. You don't have you don't have the amount of practicing under your belt that I have. I've been practicing these, key movements, dumbbell press, bench press, whatever that is, cable flies, for almost half a decade, now, right? And that's something, right? Like I have practiced these movements, like to certain points that I feel every single time I go down and every single time I go up, like the eccentric and concentric part of the motion, every single time I do that motion, I feel stretch in my muscles, right? So I have like very good mind muscle connection. So I really don't need many sets to basically have those micro tears in my muscle. For you, that might not be the case, right? So all of this fitness influencers saying that, hey, you don't need to go, you don't need to go to the gym for 5 times a week, 4 times a week. Just go to the gym 2 or 3 2 or 3 days a week. Listen to that advice and then think if it's really for you or not, right? So yeah, that's all I need to say. Like this, I don't know if I covered like every single nuance when it comes to not listening to advice when it comes to mainstream media, or like mainstream bodybuilders, or like competitive bodybuilders. But yeah, I hope I got my point through this camera, right? If you want the training program that has been catered to basically you being as jacked as possible and you being as strong as possible, if you're an intermediate or like an advanced level lifter, check the top link in the descriptions and you'll find my workout program, right? It's a power building workout program, completely conducive to the outcome that you're looking forward to, which is like getting jacked as fast as possible and getting strong as fast as possible. And yeah, peace.